Hello, thanks for coming by. Welcome to the We Called It podcast. I'm the host, Philip Call, once again joined with Connor Lucas.
Hi, Phil.
So we had a tough week last week.
Had it tough?
Some of us a little bit more than others. I'm sorry for everyone that followed my Facebook posts on bets. Went a solid 0-5. You know, the good news is, law of averages, I have to get back to where I typically do, which means I'm due for like a 5-0, 6-0 week.
I think, what was I, 2-3?
I had you marked down at 2-2. So if you had another one, it wasn't in the Google Sheets, so you're good.
Yeah, I think I was 500, but that was a 3-2, a 3-3, 2-2. So I'm just very average.
It's a floating average. 1 week is just gonna blow up, make everyone money. I think Evan walked away 4-4 last week. Yeah, the Steelers really blew him last at the end of the game. That was just embarrassing. They should have won by more.
Yeah, that beat for sure.
Yeah, but you guys each had the good luck with the Cowboys too, so it all balances out in the end.
And the Vegas Raiders, yeah, got you on that one, Phil. You took.
That's right. I'll eat my crow on that one, thinking, oh, John Gruden, he's not there anymore. Vegas is going to take a step back. That was a big mistake.
I told you, everyone was like, sigh of relief. Let's play football.
Derek Carr looked fantastic. Although, what was it? When Denver was coming back, there was Henry Ruggs one-on-one against, I want to say it was Ronald Darby. And Ronald Darby just, he had great coverage. He just screwed up the pass deflection. And then Henry Ruggs catches it on the 2-yard line. They score the next play. That one sucked.
That's from Philly.
All right, so let's get into this week's games. As you can see, I got my Cleveland gear on. I'll move for the camera. Ugh. We got the Browns. Huh?
You didn't even bet them, so
I bet them the last 2 weeks. I lost them both, and what is it? Their whole team's out, yet they're still the favorite. So I wanted to bet if this got to like Cleveland plus 1.5, I probably would have taken it. But I'm not giving points with a backup guard, third string running back, backup tackles, backup quarterback, third string running back, and OBJ still marked as questionable.
So. Yeah, well, here's what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Jarvis is back, all right, and I'm not picking either of these guys. I'm taking the over because that just seems so incredibly low that I think all of the things are going to be a perfect storm, and somehow they're going to get over 40.5 points. That's what's going to happen tonight. Do you know what that means? It means 3 touchdowns apiece. Okay,
yeah.
NFL friends and the Jags are putting up that right now. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that I feel pretty confident in this one. But yes, I get it. But Case Keenum is still Case Keenum, and he's won games before. Okay,
what Case Keenum? So, didn't he break a bunch of college records? Who cares if it was at the University of Houston playing against D3 teams?
Houston, watch it. Play D3, and we were pretty good. So I don't want to.
How'd it go when you faced the D1 actual players from Mount Union?
The closest we ever got was 44-7, my friend. So
I'm so proud of you guys for scoring a touchdown against their high school athletes that are trying out for the team.
Yeah. For sure. And, luckily for me, Pierre Garçon, Jasper Collins, and Cecil Shorts were not on the team at the time. But we also did play a guy from Heidelberg who went to the league and started for the Bucks, too. So, anyways, we can talk about that stuff, too.
1 second. This is a real big sidetrack. Wasn't, sophomore year, the quarterback for Mount Union or someone else in the conference, didn't he get kicked off the team for being a porn star?
No, he didn't get kicked off the team. They just knew about him making a video, and they just let him ride.
Literally.
He won the D3, or he was up for the D3 Heisman, and I think he won actually that year. And he did have one. In fact, did have one. So,
so now you get to make a sequel film with the true Heisman Trophy winner.
Tryouts. And then they canned him after that. So,
but anyways, back to the game. Yeah, Case Keenum is a former MVP candidate. I don't know if many people know that. No big deal. Starting for the Browns. I want to believe in him to win, but it's a Thursday night game. I'm way too amped up on him. I'm not taking any sides. The 40.5 though. That's just so low. It's the lowest total of the week. And
I think it's one of the lowest totals of the year.
Yeah, and it's not like Denver's supposed to have a good defense and be conservative, but after the first 3 weeks, they're giving up 25, 30 points a game. So that gets you right in that area.
They have pieces on offense. Teddy Bridgewater is playing. So I'm going with Teddy Bridgewater playing and getting at least 3 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton is quietly putting together a pretty solid season.
Mm-hmm.
And wide receiver, quietly. Javonte Williams is good. Melvin Gordon is Melvin Gordon. They're going to give him 10 carries a game. So, I mean, they've got pieces. Tim Patrick is kind of surprisingly good. And I just think perfect storm for some reason. I just think that I have a gut that they're going to be able to squeak out 3 touchdowns apiece. I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's not that even big of downgrade. So it's a downgrade for the Browns offense, but you don't have to switch anything stylistically between Case Keenum and Baker Mayfield. So I think that's a big plus. Plus, Keenum has played in Stefanski's system. That's when he was an MVP candidate. I can expect, like, typically short notice, you got backups coming in. It hurts. I think it just hurts less this time.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to my first pick of the week. Going against the Raiders again. I'm going with the Eagles +3 on the road in Vegas. The total's 49. And my thought is, we've seen the Eagles be bad a couple times. There was the Cowboys game where their offense just didn't show up. And I think, the 49ers game where they really struggled. Although the 49ers, I still think have a good defense. It's still under question how good. But I think that they can keep it close, and Jalen Hurts got within 6 points of the Buccaneers late in the game last week. And I don't think the Raiders are a team that's going to run up the score on you. So I think Jalen Hurts, fourth quarter, fantasy points magic, he'll eventually get them close enough that they'll be down 27-17 or something, then they'll get a touchdown, go for 2, and they'll cover the 3-point spread, 27-25, something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I feel like the Eagles have been blown out every game, and yet every score doesn't show them being blown out. It's wild.
They were down 28-7 against the Buccaneers, and before the podcast, you made fun of me for taking credit for live bets. I got in at Eagles +17.5 on that. I'm like, of course they're gonna run the ball back in. It's Jalen Hurts, Blake Bortles season, baby.
Not even run the ball intelligently. They don't even use Miles Sanders or Kenneth Gainwell anymore. They just run it with Jalen Hurts. And to me, that tells me, no, Jalen Hurts is not the future, because they are sitting here thinking, let's just run him to death. And then when he breaks his leg, then we'll say, season's over. But until then, let's keep going with him. He seems to get us back in games. So, no, I don't think they're a good team. I was debating on this one just because the Eagles could cover, but I couldn't put my foot down on either one.
So I was listening to the PFF podcast today too. Their weekly preview, and a good point was brought up. Max Crosby's been an absolute terror. He's like the best pass rusher in the league this year, but he hasn't played one real right tackle. And this week he goes against Lane Johnson. So it's like the first attempt that someone has to neutralize the Raiders pass rush. So I like, the one thing the Eagles can do is block well. Casey Hayward for the Raiders will probably take away Devonta Smith, and then I don't even know who's left for the Eagles. No one else has really popped off my mind or looked really good, except for Quez Watkins a little. But I thought, Jalen Rakers, he's all right, but I don't know. It just seems like they got a lot of speed, but not a lot of, I need 8 yards. So.
Yeah, well, Jalen Reagor is a slot that they put outside because they have nothing else, and they spent a 15 pick on him. Yep. So that's all a bust.
Yeah, but like I said, there's only one corner on the Raiders. These other guys who aren't even that good will make their plays, and then the Raiders' pass rush will be neutralized, giving the Eagles just enough to cover but still lose because they're the Eagles. All right, let's go over to you. You got the Monday night game picked. We have New Orleans at Seattle. So we got Seattle getting 4.5 points. The total's 42.5. this is just pure Geno Smith hate, isn't it?
Partially Geno Smith and Sean Payton coming off a bye. So
Ooh, that's a good one. With an extra day if you count the Sunday.
Sean Payton's getting like 13, 14, 15, 16 days or whatever to plan for this guy. He's got Geno Smith. They've got a good defense. Geno Smith, Pete Carroll came out and said, have you looked at Cam Newton? And he said, we've looked at all options, meaning Geno Smith, if he struggles again, which I believe he will, is going to get smacked and he's going to get benched and they're going to bring in Cam Newton. So that's what I'm predicting over the next 2 weeks. But defense didn't look great. I mean, sure. I think it was in the first half. No, it was definitely in the first half. You've literally got you. Who did you have? Oh, you had the Deontay Johnson went off on him. Okay, so they get Traquan Smith back this week. I think they get Traquan Smith back this week. You got Alvin Kamara. You can't defend anybody. And the only reason that last game was competitive was because of Big Ben. So I don't believe in Seahawks. Now the wild card is Pete Carroll is a good coach, so I think they could put it back in, but keep him in. But yeah, no, I'm not thinking at all in terms of these guys. So the New Orleans.
The thing that shocked me the most about Seattle was how well they ran the ball against Pittsburgh, which I just don't understand because it's not like they have a good O-line and Pittsburgh's good up front. But still, Alex Collins went off for like 20 carries for like 110 yards or something like that and a touchdown.
Yeah, and I think New Orleans is much better up front.
That's exactly what I was about to say. And then there is no defense for Seattle, and it's primetime Jameis. Who knows what that means? It's probably just like every other Sunday Jameis. I agree with you that I don't trust Geno Smith. Also, my same game parlay bet, 8-1 odds, was going to pay out. All Geno Smith had to do was throw for 16 more yards, a.k.a. not fumble the ball in his own territory and blow the game.
That was going to happen, too. They were on their own, so he had to pass the ball, 60 yards. So he had 60 yards of opportunity to get you 16.
One pass to DK Metcalf from Lockett. That just hurt so bad. But I don't know. It's just Jameis Winston is the wild card. I just can't see myself backing New Orleans much at all this year just because he's not even throwing the ball like a ton. He's getting like 150 yards a game or something real low. But he still throws like 5 touchdowns in the games he throws touchdowns. Somehow he makes it work.
Well, Sean Payton's going to come out and he's going to say, Jameis, throw here. We got Traquan Smith. Do you remember who that guy is? Throw to him, not the other team, and you will be successful. Done. Oh, Alvin Kamara? Dump it. Dump it off to Alvin Kamara.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to be like, hey, look for number 33 in the Seahawks defense. Yeah, he makes $96 million, but he can't catch a ball or play pass defense to save his life.
But he takes the ball off the face mask a lot.
That was just so bad. And then, I think that was against Deontay Johnson, where he just got humiliated. He literally got spun around, and Deontay Johnson caught like a 40-yard pass. So, yeah, target Jamal Adams when he's in pass coverage. He's a better pass rusher than he is defender.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to pick up Carolina this week after they burned you like 3 or 4 times this year. I'm putting my money on Sam Darnold. I know. I shouldn't do it. But the thing is, they're playing the Giants. And I think what we're having now is they were 3-0. They were all hyped for everyone. We're starting to get the correction. The line's coming down. It's less than a field goal. They're giving less than a field goal. It's at 2.5 points. So all they got to do in my mind at that point is win the game. Daniel Jones looked like old Daniel Jones last week. He had 4 turnovers. I said it was coming. He throws the ball more aggressive than anyone. Yes, his receivers were out, but I don't trust the Giants' offense. They have nothing good to me. I like their receivers, but they can't block, and Daniel Jones can't throw. Then Carolina, you heard their coach. They want to run the ball more, and anything to get the ball to Sam Darnold's hand, and everything will be better. Make life easy for him. He only has to throw a couple times. He'll hit Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore for a deep touchdown. This is going to look like that Jets game in Week 1. They'll win 17-13. It'll be ugly, but I'll walk away on top for this one.
I wanted to bet. I wanted to take Sam Darnold. I'm serious. I was this close to Sam Darnold, and I was like, you're an idiot. And we get to the Houston game in 2 seconds, and I'm like, I want to take Davis. But I didn't pick either of those games because, I mean, the lines are getting bigger for the Houston and the lines are getting smaller for Carolina, and I am just sitting here thinking, these guys, like, you have a good defense. 3 points. Sam Darnold, don't go less than 50% passing and you win the game. That's it. That's what you have to do.
We got you a blocked punt touchdown, Sam Darnold. Come on, help us.
Loads of talent. Chuba Hubbard is pretty good. He's not Christian McCaffrey, but he's still pretty good. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I saw some crazy stat of like Robbie Anderson's targets over the last 3 games are like 20 plus targets over 3 games. He's got like 5 catches. That's like, you have to like go really hard to miss like that's almost impossibly bad. Possible.
That's the dad at the Turkey Bowl who it's after halftime, so he had one too many refreshments at halftime. He doesn't know who's on his team, and the other team just throwing their hand up like, "Hey, throw it to me," and he's throwing it at them instead of his own players.
Like all of his throwaways are attempted apparently. Robbie Anderson. They're just like Robbie, target.
He wasn't even close. Yeah, just give it to him. And then I actually saw this really funny tweet. It was a slow motion throw from Sam Darnold, and the caption was, "Look at this perfect spiral." And the release, the pass, all looks perfect, and it goes right to the defender.
That's about right. So yeah, no, I
just staying away.
By the weekend, I'll be picking Carolina plus 2.5 or minus 2.5. Watch.
Yeah, what's that? That's your little drug addiction, you know.
Stupid.
All right. So we're gonna go on. This one I don't like, but I just felt it needed to be done. Cincinnati plus 6.5 at Baltimore. Okay. So a while ago, to actually get my Action Network writing position, I did a study of teams that score. I compared, their average score and how volatile their scoring was. And what you found was, if teams covered the spread, but they scored like a lot of points and were up and down, or were like they're against the spread points were up and down, what ended up happening was they got overvalued quickly. AKA, the Ravens just beat the crap out of the Chargers, and they've had good wins coming in. That means Vegas isn't giving them enough love, and Cincinnati has played in tight games every week. So I think that their defense is good enough to keep it tight. Zach Taylor is dumb enough to run the ball enough to keep it tight. And I think Jamar Chase is a complete stud. And even if Marlon Humphrey takes him out, they got T. Higgins, they got Tyler Boyd. They have receiving options. I think they can keep it close enough. And Baltimore, I like them more. Obviously, last week, they were just getting the ball in favorable field position because the Chargers were sticking with their go for it on 4th and 5 in our own territory, and it bit them in the butt for the first time this year. But I think Baltimore will prefer to run the ball and stick to their typical game plan if it's closer. Now, if they're behind, that's when they throw to catch up, and it works for them. But I think Baltimore runs the ball too much. Cincinnati has a good enough offense to keep it within 6.5 or a touchdown in my mind.
Yeah, but the only problem is, and this is why I didn't pick this game, is because if you saw what happened last week, the Ravens against one of the most potent offenses in the NFL, they finally started playing defense. And they started playing defense, and it was something like time of possession was just astronomically in Ravens. If they get 3 and outs at all, they turned into a running team, a full-fledged running team. And I think Lamar had like 165 passing yards or something.
It was nothing. They didn't even throw it.
He didn't even run it either. He had like 56 rushing yards. But they are taking the full 35-second game clock. They're taking, play clock every time. They're going to run you out and this was now Brandon Staley, I think, is the Chargers head coach. He decided that he would go for like 4th and 4, 4th and 3, 4th and 7, 3 in a row in like their own territory. I get that's his thing, but you're also going to give Lamar Jackson the ball on your own 30 and just let him run it in. So it was a little bit, amplified, but I just can't. 6.5. If they get a score up and they get a 3 and out and they score again, it's done. Because you just can't. I just can't see them getting the ball back enough times to get back in.
I don't like the Ravens running backs. I know they all averaged 5 yards a carry last week. They're all 30 or older, and somehow, some way, the players that the Bengals have on defense have played well. I don't get it. It happens every year. There's always that one defense that's like, hey, we came out of nowhere and we're respectable now. There's like the accumulation of what Bengals have on defense is not good. Yeah. I don't think individually player for player, but somehow they've pieced together a defense that is playing really well. They're top 5 in points, top 8 in yards. They are number 7 against the run. I think they are good enough to keep Baltimore's offense close. And if the game's close, I don't think Baltimore gives up on their typical game plan of run the ball and attack with Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown and Rashad Bateman now. And if they did that, I think they would score more points. But they're going to stick to their bread and butter with what's working. Run the ball. And it's what teams do against the Bengals. For whatever reason, their games seem closer than they should be. The only real win that I watched, and I was like, the blowout was the Lions. Even the Steelers, they won 24-10. I wasn't convinced with that. So I think Bengals can keep it close. And like I said, I think Baltimore is going to catch a little bit of we just beat the team everyone was saying was the best team. So we're going to get knocked down a notch.
That's true.
We'll
see.
I didn't talk you into it? Okay, fine. You're just throwing away money. Let's go down to Atlanta versus Miami. You have Atlanta minus 2.5. Okay, this is interesting. I want to hear what your thoughts, because I was thinking Miami should be favored in this game, but they're not. So Atlanta minus 2.5, totals 47.5.
Mostly because I watched the whole Miami game last week, and man, they should have won the game. They should have won the game. Tua looked okay, but he had an ugly pick. But this is more. I was a big Brian Flores fan. You know that. I picked him early in the game a couple times this year, but I'm beginning not to believe in Brian Flores or Tua. I just watching him. He's a guy with an average arm. He's a guy who he's turning into a system type of guy. The whole thing about Ohio State quarterbacks. Same thing with Alabama quarterbacks or system players. They have the best talent in the world, and then when they get to the NFL and everyone has that talent, okay, everyone is just as good as you. So I think there's going to be a little bit of pressure on Tua this week because Tua has been in trade rumors to Washington and all that stuff too. I think he's hurt too. But man, I do not believe in their defense anymore. Brian Flores is a defensive coach. He looks lost. Defensive coordinator looks lost. They don't have a running game.
Not at all.
They do not have a running game. And, here's another thing too. Kyle Pitts had a coming out party. I think he's going to continue to do that. I think Matt Ryan is going to start picking him up. They get Calvin Ridley back. And they've got this crazy Swiss Army knife in Cordero Patterson, which we talked about last week. I think offensively, they're better than definitely what they've shown up throughout this year. So, I don't know. That was kind of a gut feeling. More of an indictment on the Dolphins rather than sticking with Atlanta. But I think Atlanta's got upside.
All right. So my thought against the Falcons is essentially played the Jets, they were missing Calvin Ridley. And they did the smartest thing ever. They put Kyle Pitts outside, they put Cordero Patterson outside, and they had them run, use their physical prowess against weak and small, undersized cornerbacks. And it worked really well. I think they built a game plan that's just a normal game plan. Cordero Patterson's a running back. Kyle Pitts is a tight end. Calvin Ridley's our receiver. And they're not utilizing Ridley deep. They're not utilizing Pitts as a mismatch. And they're not using their Swiss Army knife correctly. If they do pick that up, I think it's unfair. I think they do stop the Dolphins. I agree with you there. I just don't think that they... I think they go back to pre-Ridley offense for this week. And when they see it doesn't work, that's when they'll start mixing it up. Like, hey, when Ridley wasn't here, our offense was better. He came back. Things went back to worse. So let's fix it in the following week. And also, I like the Dolphins' passing attack better with Tua. I'm not saying he's good, but I think he hit Gesicki and Jalen Waddle a lot more than Jacoby Brissett did. And I have a very simple belief that if you have better players, give them the ball. And that's just something the Dolphins hadn't been doing until Tua just came back. They did it a little in the first week, I think, and the second week, but then when Tua left, it just kind of all fell apart with Brissett, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, but don't say that they have better players than Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts.
Oh, better players than my Atlanta's defense. And then I think Miami has some good players on defense.
All right. They need to learn how, and they haven't done it yet, which is Jalen Waddle was a burner at Alabama.
Yeah, agreed.
Last week, 14 yards. That's it. Touchdowns and like 29 fantasy points, and yet couldn't make it past 14 yards. They don't have a deep threat. Will Fuller's out. He should still be out. They don't have a deep threat. Williams. They don't have Devontae Parker.
Yep.
Phil.
I don't trust the Falcons.
Pick the Dolphins this week so we can talk about this next week where we can go, who was right?
Tell you what, I won't put my money where my mouth is, but I'll let you shame me next week. How about that? It'll be marked when you get this right, or when I get it right. So someone else is gonna have to come in and be like, yeah, I picked the Broncos, and the Broncos completely stunk up the joint. All right, let's go on to, looks like my last pick of the week. We got the Jets versus the Patriots. So this is an article I got coming out. I haven't written it yet, but I got the under at 43. So I don't pick the games I write on, just to let everyone know. I'm assigned them, and then I have to make a pick. And 6.5, that's hard, because what was it? I think the Patriots were a 5.5-point favorite in the very first matchup. And everyone remembers Zach Wilson's wonderful 3 interceptions on 4 passes to start the game. And now they're 6.5-point favorites in Foxborough. Now, the Jets got an extra week off, but I don't think Robert Saleh I don't think he's a schemer, right? I don't think he's going to outsmart the other team. So I think an extra week of scheming isn't going to help him as much as it would, say, an Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, Sean Payton, like you said earlier. So I think Bill Belichick, they got to be upset, man. They had that Cowboys game, and Bill Belichick constantly, in my opinion, made calls that put them behind. What was it? It was fourth downs in like 2 or 3 in Cowboy territory, but too far for a field goal, and they were punting. And then there was a minute and a half left to go in the half, and he took a QB knee instead of trusting Mac Jones. So I think that just shows the Patriots are hesitant on offense. The Jets aren't good on offense. That's why I went with the under. If the Patriots were more aggressive, I think it'd be easy to pick them as a 6.5-point favorite. But I don't think Zach Wilson is good enough to learn from his 4-interception mistake game. But I hope he is. And that's why I'm staying away from betting against the Jets.
Yeah, I'm staying away from the Jets, mostly because of Zach Wilson. So I think we've talked about this too. He still, he got away with being in a second-tier FBS school at BYU. Like, the best game he ever played, the best competition, not even the best game he ever played, was Coastal Carolina, and he was good for 1 year.
Yep.
He does enough. So in college, he was able to get away with just having a live arm, okay? his mechanics themselves are bad. He does things like where he holds the ball down at his waist and he flings it with one hand and he turns the ball over with fumbles. That doesn't fly in the NFL. He does things where he has poor mechanics. He doesn't follow through on his throws. So basically, when you start going out and follow through, when you come all the way through, you bring your foot all the way through, he just flings it with his wrist. So he doesn't twist his hips. He does all arms. So he's got a heck of an arm. That's why everybody loved him coming out of the draft when they were like, oh, did you see him flip his hips and then just flick it with his wrist? Yeah, that's awesome. People can't do that in the NFL. Or lots of people can do that in the NFL, okay? They're not going to let you just set up on nobody and do that. And the other thing is, he just locks into his receivers. He can't. So if you know that you're on a bad team, okay, you need to understand, I got to get through my reads faster. I don't have an offensive line. I don't have a running game. I got to get 1, 2, and then I got to run. He decides, I'm going to go lock in on the first guy. He's not there. Let's spin around in circles a bunch. And then hopefully somebody else is open. Doesn't work. So
and if he's not, you just tell him go deep in double coverage. You hit a 60 air yard pass, and everyone loves you.
And then all of a sudden, everybody thinks you're kind of good because you literally said go deep and you beat the Titans. Okay, take that out, and he is atrocious. And the thing is, he doesn't show the improvement to me that he's going to say, okay, I'm learning from my mistakes. Let's move on and say, oh, okay, I still have a crappy line with no running game. They just gave me an ace wide receiver, but I have a tough time getting him the ball. So not a believer in Zach Wilson. Truthfully, I would have probably been on the New England side on this one too.
Like I said, I'm on the under. I'm not saying New England can win 30-0 for all I care, as long as they don't score 43 points.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like I said, I just something about that divisional game, although it is in Foxborough, so I assume the Patriots will play better. Just the divisional game, for some reason, makes me think they'll come back. The Jets will come back and off a bye week with some pounce in their step, and they'll lose, but they'll get a garbage time touchdown. Because I think did I bring it up on here just when I wrote about the Jets last time, where the Jets have the worst first half offense ever. I don't think Zach Wilson has thrown a touchdown in the first half, but he has 6 or 7 interceptions. They just can't move the ball. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's bad.
All right, so I think we covered all of our picks. We will likely have more, and we'll share Evan's. So just follow us on Facebook or Twitter. We'll get those posted so you guys can keep up with our crew picks throughout the week and all the way up until kickoff. Let's get into the games now. We didn't pick, but they're still playing football. So we're going to start with KC versus Tennessee. So first of all, if the Titans didn't lose to the Jets, they would be 5-1, and I think they'd be are they or the Ravens the best team in the AFC?
True.
And they are 5-point underdogs at home against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think this is less. If I was going to pick one, I would pick KC, and here's why. I know you just were talking about.
Go ahead. I got I'd pick KC too, but you go ahead.
I still think that they're in this weird sort of position where they know that they're way better than everybody that they play. They're missing CEH. Damian Williams is on COVID reserve, and he probably won't be playing this weekend. So, but you still have Jerick McKinnon, and who cares? Because you don't run the ball anyways. So I still think that they're in this weird position where they just know that they're more talented than everyone else, and they can just turn it on. And all of a sudden, like last week, Mahomes decides that he wants to fall down or fumble the ball, get tackled, flip it up in the red zone, and then
so bad
put it up in the air and give it to Washington football team. That's not bad. That's not an indictment on anybody but Patrick Mahomes just being arrogant and doing Patrick Mahomes things. But when it's on, it's on. And I think that part of it was playing Washington football team. They're playing the Titans this week. And I think that he is going to light them up. And I think Tyreek Hill, Tyreek's been battling a quad when he played last week. He'll probably play. Travis Kelce, point being, at the end of that game, when they said, let's turn it on, they turned it on, and they literally just, like, flipped 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, DeMarcus Robinson, whoop, done, game over. We were just messing with you guys.
So my thing with KC is, one, I had the over in that game, and for whatever reason, Washington and KC got in the red zone, turnovers. There was like 4 or 5 red zone drives that ended in turnovers. Drove me nuts. But Tennessee, they can't use Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. I don't understand it. They aren't getting big plays. They aren't capitalizing. Ryan Tannehill, he's good enough to do it. I just think that the Tennessee offense hasn't shown the explosion that it should have. They're built on, we have Derrick Henry, and if you try to stop him, we're getting 80-yard touchdowns. Now the Bills said, we don't care, give the ball to Derrick Henry. And when they did, there was like, oh, yeah, he ran 20 times for 146 yards and just ran through the line. So,
Yeah.
But KC can't do anything on defense. And their offense is awesome. And Tennessee is going to be missing like most of their defensive backs. So it's just a mismatch in KC's favor. And all you need to do is stop Tennessee's offense once or twice. And don't make red zone mistakes, and you'll be good. The over-under at 58 is really high because neither team can play defense. I honestly would lean the under in this game, though, just because I know from what I've seen from Tennessee, they're not going to score a ton. Or like last week, they had 34. It was 34-31. But I think they're going to keep running the ball, keep eating it, and I don't think that they'll have the success they did last week when Derrick Henry averaged 7 yards a carry. He'll be successful, but back down to 5 or something that he normally does.
The Bills Titans, like, first half was something like 17-14. It wasn't all boring. First quarter was like 7-0 or something. Yep. Because I think there was like 4 3-and-outs or something stupid in the first quarter. And the second quarter opens up with a 75-yard touchdown run from Derrick. So, but that's the thing. They're going to commit to it, and it just bleeds the clock. I would say that this is a worse matchup for Kansas City, even though I would say, I'm talking to the points here, even though I would say it's a worse defense, this is a bad offense to be playing for Kansas City. I would say the over all day long if you're playing Arizona, even though Arizona has a better defense, because Kyler's going to go 3-and-out a couple of times. Mm-hmm. They just, after the first quarter, the Tennessee Titans didn't go 3-and-out. I don't think they probably did. That's probably not true. But
it's hard for them.
Derrick Henry just pounding you in the face. That hurts Kansas City's over chances. So, yeah, I don't think that they go over 58. In fact, probably betting that. I think it's going to be. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't pick a line in this one, but I would say it's under.
Between Tennessee wanting to run the ball and KC refusing to not turn the ball over. Like, whenever they get back to last year Chiefs where Mahomes threw 6 interceptions, I think he already has like 8 or 9 to 6 last year. So whenever they decide to get back to, we're going to protect the ball, we're going to care, that's when you'll see KC back to 40 points a week. But until then, it's just, I like them, and they're going to be around in the end. But it's just hard to be supportive of them against the line or spread. All right, let's go to Sunday Night Football. We have the Colts versus the 49ers. This is just a game I like both teams, but they're like they're like the 15th or 16th ranked team in my opinions. It's just like they're average. Nothing is impressing me about either of them. They both can run the ball well. They have good defensive players. It's just boring.
None. Carson Wentz makes me mad because I suck, which is 90% of the time. He does the other 10% where he doesn't suck. And so I'm like, okay, well. And then Jonathan Taylor, who is all of a sudden breaking out. Everyone sort of expected that. But T.Y. Hilton, sweet, cool, man. Michael Pittman, like, okay. Tyreek Hill's not running out there 50-yard bomb. Like, I don't know. I just don't find either of these teams intriguing at all. So, San Francisco's in transition and a defensive team. Can't find a running back. I don't know. I don't find either of these teams interesting.
It's funny. It's like I think I have a real bias on the teams I bet. I probably bet the same ones over and over and over again. But like San Fran, I don't want to bet. I guess I try to stay away from average to bad quarterback play. I always like to have the better quarterback in my bets. And when you have Carson Wentz and Jimmy Garoppolo, I just look at them and I go, no, I don't want that. Thank you. So I'm staying away. If I had to pick a side, I think I go give me the points in Indy plus 4.5 because I don't like San Fran to score enough to cover. But that's the only approach I'm taking to this. I'm not betting it, but that's how I would view it. All right, let's go to my last article of the week. We got for the football team versus Green Bay. I don't know who I'm picking. I don't know what's going on in this game. I'm sorry right now. You can read about it on Sunday when the article comes out where I went. But my thoughts are Green Bay's giving 7.5. The total's 48.5. But I view Washington similar to the way I view Chicago currently, which doesn't make sense. I know Chicago's defense is playing way better. But to me, they have a lot of similar characteristics as teams. And Packers won 27-17, and Aaron Rodgers did his whole "I own you" to the stands. I wasn't impressed with that win. That was a 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We got our two possession lead against Justin Fields. Your Super Bowl caliber team. Justin Fields hasn't looked great. I think he's going to be a good quarterback, but you should be taking advantage of these situations, not getting by them.
That's all you have to know. Matt Nagy sucks. He's got a good defensive coordinator. He's got a good defense. And he just is an awful head coach. I mean, there's no way around that. But this week, I wouldn't know where to go either because there's some streakiness in Green Bay, too.
Yeah.
They're like New Orleans on steroids.
They're New Orleans when Drew Brees was young.
So I don't like picking Green Bay in any really.
But like the football team is so bad, so bad. So I think in the end, when I read an article, I have to make a pick. We get an email and we're just like, you have the ability to say you don't want. No, I'm making a pick. I'm spending hours on this. Come on.
I would pick every game every week, and I would like to see. I would take a.
They tell me like here's the articles, like here's who you're writing on, and then they're like you have the right to say the Packers versus Washington. Phil, that's your game. You can tell no one. No, get out of here. If you're publishing an article by me, it has a pick. I don't care if it's wrong. Putting my name on the line, all my credibility, throw it out the window. You all heard it here. It sometimes it's BS. I'd say about 1 in every 5 articles is BS. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, here we go. So we got our last 3 games of the week. These are the double-digit point games, so I think we'll just end up flipping through these. We're going to start with Chicago versus Tampa Bay, talking about Justin Fields, how much we love him. And Tampa Bay, I think their offense is just too good. I don't think Chicago... man, that is so hard to choose.
Such a huge spread.
Yeah, well, Chicago's 3-3. I don't get it. They were 3-2 going into last week. I don't understand. I think they're probably that team that's just distinctly average, but has extreme outcomes. Like they're gonna have games where they play really well, then they're gonna have that Browns game where they get blown out and look awful. So I don't think Tampa Bay's pass rush hasn't been as good as we expected coming in the year after that phenomenal Super Bowl performance. And I think that's what kills Justin Fields. So if they struggle to get to him, I think Chicago can throw the ball and Allen Robinson hopefully can figure out, remember I'm good at football. I think Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson are good enough to beat the corners in Tampa Bay. As long as the pass rush stays off, I think 12 points is too many because Tampa Bay last week, you saw it. We're up 28-7. Tom Brady, it's like, all right, I got to go take my nap. I'm ready to go to bed. I don't care about this game anymore. We're just going to coast along, get out of here. Oh, Philly scored with like a minute left in the game, and they brought it in within 6. Who cares? That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. 12 is just a huge number. But Tom covered it last week, and he covered a big number last week, too. I remember thinking, man, that was a big number last week. I was like...
It was at least double digits against the Dolphins. Did they play the Dolphins last week? I don't even remember.
10 last week was the number, and he covered it, and I was like, whoa, okay. Again, another one where it's just kind of like, that line is probably appropriate. Flip a coin for that one.
Yep. All right, so now we got Dr. Mills. I have it marked versus Carolina. It's supposed to be Arizona. I'm an idiot. But, so, Arizona giving 17.5 points. So I was actually in discussions with a coworker of mine about what we would consider a risk-free bet, aka how much risk tolerance do I have to be a gambler? And I came up with if a game has a 17.5 point spread, I'm willing to say the favorite is guaranteed to win. Obviously, crazy stuff happens, but I'm willing to like how much risk am I willing to take in terms of like investment kind of style? And I'm like 17.5 points is my risk-free bet. If someone told me you have $1 million if you hit this bet, give me a 17.5 point spread. With that said, Arizona, I like them more to cover this game than I like Houston to even cover a 17.5 point spread. How pathetic is that?
Hold on. So you're but you're talking about a money line though, right? Like just I'm gonna
So that would be a money line bet. So if I saw a 17.5 point spread, I would equivalent that to being like the favorite is guaranteed to win that game. Now, looking at the spread, I would say Arizona would be the way I actually lean in this game because they have looked phenomenal. Every time I think they're going to get... Last week, I bet the Browns. I thought the Browns were going to hit them with something they couldn't expect, and they shut down the Browns' run game, even though Kareem Hunt was healthy for the first quarter. Not only did they stepped on their throats, too. It was... The Browns got down early. Then we got a pick and scored. Then we got a pick and scored. Then we forced a fumble. Then we got them to punt, and we scored. And it just... They're relentless. Their offense is just... There's so many options. I think I find myself... I talked up Kyler Murray to my brother who buys football cards in the year, saying Arizona's going to be good. I think they're even past that. I'm a big fan. I'm not going to mark them as the favorite to win the NFC because I think they do have their flaws. But I think Arizona, they're the special team this year that comes out of the bottom half of the league and just blows through the league, goes 13-3, loses in the playoffs.
Yeah, a huge spread. It's just so and Dr. Mills sucks.
All right. Hey, here you go. Quick question. The total's 47.5. Do you think is Arizona more likely to cover that by themselves, aka score 48 points, or is Houston more likely to score 28 points? I think there's no way in hell that Houston would ever score more than 3 touchdowns. And I think 3 touchdowns is generous to give them for like even the ability to score that many.
Oh man, their offense is just so bad.
So bad.
Yeah. I would probably be more likely to see it would be more likely that Arizona scores 48 than
Just man, think about that sentence. That's just all right. We're not giving picks. Like I said, these are games we're not picking. You can tell that we dodge huge spreads typically because they're huge spreads and anything can happen in the NFL. But now let's go on to the last game of the week: Detroit versus the Rams. Rams coming off the most humiliating victory against Daniel Jones, and now they get Jared Goff. So I got 2 things for this game. 2 things in general. 1, Jared Goff gets to go against the Rams. That's just like you broke up with the girl and now you're out at a restaurant and she walks in and like she's dating LeBron James. and and you're sitting there at the bar alone, like
Yeah. Yeah. And your head coach just called you out.
your, your head coach, your players' coach goes, "Yeah, no one could do anything with this group, but Jared Goff, you suck."
You have to be better, is what he's like. So yes, so yeah, that's so weird. What's the over in the line for this?
15.5. Rams are giving 15.5, obviously, and then totals 51. So now Detroit, I was high on them the first 3 weeks because they actually they fought, they looked feisty, they came back, they played hard, and I think that has run out. I think all of their secrets, all their surprises are gone, and I think they're left looking around like we had 2 heartbreaking losses at the gun, and now it's over. We just want this. We punch our clocks, give us our paycheck, we're out.
I think LA is going to run up the score. I would take LA in this one if I picked, but I think the moment your quarterback or your coach calls out your quarterback's either going to respond or he's going to tank. And Jared Goff, I was never high on, and he had one good season, got paid $100 million, and then has sucked since.
Yep.
Do you remember that? He has like the highest guaranteed money ever, or something. It was for a split second before somebody else got it, but he got paid. Jared Goff.
Yep. And the Rams are still paying his contract. Not the entire thing, but they ate a lot. They're paying him. They got to pay him like $20 million, I think, to play for the Lions.
Yeah,
that's how bad he is. We want you gone so bad that we're willing to pay our quarterbacks combined like $50 million.
A little bit better, Sam Bradford. That's what I was thinking earlier this week. He's a little bit better, Sam Bradford, because Sam Bradford got like 3 max contracts somehow.
Dude, who is it? Chase Daniel, goes through the NFL, doesn't play snaps, the backup everywhere he's gone, but he's made like $100 million plus in his career. Dreams, man, dreams.
Career.
Yeah. The other thing I was gonna say, Cooper Kupp, good receiver. I like him. Do you have any explanation why teams give up 3 touchdowns to him? I get 100 yards and a touchdown, but the Giants got cut up by him over and over and over again. He's not Julio Jones. He's not Antonio Brown with, he can't go one-on-one. I'm going to run a streak, get a 50-yard catch. He's like, sure. I'm going to get 15 yards on this pass, and then I'm going to get my rack up, and you know what? There's 20 extra yards. I just don't get it.
Can't go into a place like the Jets and be the number 1 there and succeed. Because he's had a quarterback that knows how to find him, and he's always had an offensive coordinator that moves him around to where you have a difficult time locating him on defense. Yeah. And he's also had Robert Woods on the other side. So you have to pick your poison. The way that you could beat him and limit him would be, the only other guy on his team that could probably limit him enough is you got to have a travel guy. You got to have a traveling corner. You got to have a Jalen Ramsey that's going to go with him all the way across the field. Over in Tre'Davious White would probably be somebody if they play the Bills. I think the Bills would be able to limit him better. But think about it like this, though. He's got fantastic releases off the line.
Yeah.
If you spot, he gets 2 yards of wiggle room. They also send him in motion a lot. That's Sean McVay's sort of bread and butter. Tons of motion, tons of window dressing. So he's not a guy that's like a Calvin Johnson that's going to be lining straight up over top of you, and you try and press him, and he has just bulldozes you off the line. It's finesse. Sean McVay finesses him around because he gets him into positions where he's not. Tre'Davious White's a big corner, a decent-sized corner. He's not going to put him on the line in a bad situation and try and have him win off the line a bunch of times. He's going to throw him in motion and give him space. So part of that is schematics, and the other part is, as bad as it sounds, look at your top wide receivers. They are technicians. They are route-running machines. You get them in space. You don't make them release off the line. You get them at the top end of routes. They're unbelievable top. Him and Hunter Renfrow created a route called the China route this year. Everyone's picking, but it takes forever to develop. So again, technicians. So that's the best explanation that I got.
I was gonna say, and then the other thing is he's got money hands. I think.
Yeah.
Once you get him open, even if it's just a slight crease and the guy's all over him, he's gonna hold on to the ball and he's gonna play physically, which is the thing I absolutely love. All right, so that covers it. Got a wide receiver breakdown from our former collegiate athlete. Look at that. Maybe we should do that every week. Bring in a phenomenal route. You can break down how Julio Jones dropped that pass and ruined my over 3.5 catches last week.
Yeah, and then he got hurt. Back out again. Woohoo!
Gotta love him. All right. So, any last words for everyone?
No, we're gonna win all our bets this week. So
just as usual, Phil is not going 0-5 when he publishes his bets. He's going 1-4, baby.
Connor is gonna go just slightly above 500 this week. That's the goal.
Slightly above 500. Well, okay, that's 3-2. That's a 60% hit rate. You know what? You do that for the rest of your life. You're living in a large Vegas mansion or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. Leave comments, feedback, blah 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 blah. I doubt anyone actually heard that.